In this lesson, we're going to talk about trapezoids. And before we get going too far, we actually need to figure out what a trapezoid is. And what you see here is it's a quadrilateral, so it has four sides, with exactly one set of parallel sides. Different than a parallelogram where it has two sets of parallel sides. This one has exactly one. And in my drawing, I have the top and the bottom being the parallel sides, as you can see with the little pink arrows. Now, don't get that stuck in your head that the top and the bottom always have to be parallel sides, because if I rotate this trapezoid, it could be the left and the right. Now, the other pieces of your trapezoid will be the two legs. Those are the two sides that are not parallel. The bases, those are the two sides that are parallel. And then you have the base angles. You have two sets of them. Each set of angles that touches a base is referred to as one set of base angles. So when you look at mine, I have the orange angles, the top ones. That's one set of base angles, and then the other set is the one that's on the bottom here, just because of the way my trapezoid is orientated. Now I want to talk about an isosceles trapezoid. Similar to an isosceles triangle has two congruent sides. Well, an isosceles trapezoid has two congruent sides as well. And those are the two sides that are not the bases. Again, the way I have my trapezoid orientated, it's going to be the left and the right sides in this one. But if I rotate it, it could be the top and the bottom. But just remember, it's the two sides that are not the parallel ones. Now, I want to look at some different properties dealing with trapezoids. And the first one I want to look at here is what's referred to as a median. Now, the median is the segment that's which endpoints are the midpoints of the two legs. Now what I want us to notice here is I've measured the slope on the two bases and the median. And what you'll notice is those slopes are always equal, and if the slopes of segments or lines are equal, that means that those lines or segments in this case are going to be parallel. So what that tells us is the median is going to be parallel to the two bases. Now another thing dealing with the median, in this one I've measured one base and a second base, and then also, the median. What you'll notice is I have a little equation up here, and I've taken the two bases, I've added them together, divided by 2, and now notice it's equaling the same thing as the median. Now if I change this, move my trapezoid around, nothing changes. So what that helps us with is it helps us tell us that, well, if I know the length of the two bases, if I find the average of them, I will find the length of the median. Or maybe sometimes it gives you these two, maybe the median and one of the bases. Well, you can plug it into this little formula, and you'll be able to find the length of the other base. Now I'll go to, this just deals with an isosceles trapezoid. So be careful with this. This doesn't work for all trapezoids, but it does for isosceles trapezoids. I've measured the four angles. Now what you'll notice here is these two angles, which would be angle A and angle D, are congruent right now, and so are angle B and angle C. Remember, these are base angles, and these are base angles. So this is telling us that the base angles of an isosceles trapezoid will always be congruent. And the last one I have would be, again, an isosceles trapezoid, so the two legs are congruent. I have drawn in the diagonals, and I've measured the two diagonals. Right now they're congruent. If I change my isosceles trapezoid, make it bigger, notice the diagonals are staying congruent. So I had a lot of stuff going on there. I'll bring you back here, and we're going to look at those things. So my first one, dealing with the median of a trapezoid, I talked about it when I was in Sketchpad. There's your definition. It's a segment with endpoints that are midpoints of the legs. I said that earlier. Now, there's some facts that we learned in Sketchpad about the median. The first one is that the median is going to be parallel to the two bases. So in my picture, notice that I have the 3 red arrows indicating that the two bases and the median will be parallel. And the other one deals with the length of the median. Remember in Sketchpad we learned that the median is the average length of the two bases. So that's what I have here. M representing the median, B sub 1 and B sub 2 representing the lengths of the two bases. If I average the two base lengths together, I'm going to get the length of the median. And then here, now notice this is dealing with an isosceles trapezoid. This is going to talk about the diagonals, and those diagonals will always be congruent as long as it's an isosceles trapezoid. So you have to keep that squared away in your head, the difference between just a trapezoid and an isosceles trapezoid. This property only works in an isosceles trapezoid. And then my last property here is going to be dealing with the angles in the isosceles trapezoid. Remember from Sketchpad we learned that the base angles will be congruent. One set of base angles being angle A and angle B, those will be congruent, and my other set of base angles being angle D and angle C, those will be congruent as well. So just keep that all square between what's a trapezoid and the properties of that, and then the properties of an isosceles trapezoid. Have it all written in your notes, so if you forget, you can always look back at it. And that's going to conclude my lesson on trapezoids and isosceles trapezoids.